Now that you have learned how to create nodes and relationships, in this lesson you will learn how to create, update, and remove properties in the graph. Recall that when you create a node, you can specify the property that will be used as the primary key for identifying the node. This merge clause finds or creates the person node with the name property of Tom Hanks. The Cypher clause you use to create or update properties is set. Here we have the P reference to the node. We simply use the set clause to set the value of a property with the key of born. When this code executes, the property with the key of born and a value of 1956 is added to the Tom Hanks node. Here is another example where we find the movie node for the movie Apollo 13, and we add the released property to the node with a value of 1995. And here is the result. You can also use set to update an existing property. The movie node for Apollo 13 has a released property with a value of 1995. We find the node and update the property value to be 1996, and here is the result. You have seen how to create person and movie nodes with the merge clause where you specify the property value in line. You can also specify relationship properties when you create the relationship as shown here. When the acted-in relationship is created, the roles property will have its value set. Here is the result. Provided you have a reference to a node or a relationship, you can always create or update a property using the set clause. Here we create the acted-in relationship, which is referenced by the variable r. We can then use the variable r to create or set the value of the roles relationship. Here is the result. If you have a reference to a node or relationship, you can use the remove clause to remove a property from a node or a relationship. In this example, we remove the roles property from the acted-in relationship between the Tom Hanks node and the Apollo 13 node. Here is the result. Let's take a look at creating, updating, and removing properties in action. You have already seen how you can use multiple merge clauses to create two nodes if they do not already exist, and then use references to the nodes to create the relationship. Just like you can specify properties inline for nodes, you can specify properties for relationships when you create them. Here we see that the property has been added to the relationship. The most common way of creating or updating a property is with the set clause. Here we find the acted-in relationship that already exists between the Michael Caine node and the Dark Knight node. We reference the relationship with the variable r. Then we can create the roles property. And here is the result. We can also use set to update an existing property. Here we update the roles property that we just created. Just as a reminder, you can use the set clause to create or update properties of nodes as well. You use the remove clause to remove properties from a given node or relationship. Here we remove the roles property from the acted-in relationship between Michael Caine and the movie The Dark Knight. Here is the result. An alternative to using the remove clause to remove a property is to set the property to null. Here we remove the born property from the Gene Hackman node by setting it to null. And here is the result. You should never remove a node property if that property is used as the primary key for that set of nodes. For example, you should never remove the name property from a person node or a title property from a movie node in our sample graph. In the next challenge, you will create and update properties in the graph. This concludes our look at how to create, update, and remove properties in the graph.